comes out. And then this one is called a compound, which is the most expensive telescopes are these days. Comes in, goes through a corrector plate, mirror, second mirror, and then out through an eyepiece. Okay? Now, for every time you go through an optical system, the image inverts. So let's take a look at this. This is what a regular telescope looks like as a blown-up view. And there's a lot of math involved here, and I'm not going to go through the math. What I want you to see is this little point right here. At that point, that's where the image flips from right side up to right side down, to right side down.
They all taken?
Okay? Well, it comes in and it hits this lens.
I can't tell you. Yeah,
That lens focuses it onto the eyepiece. And it's the eyepiece that flattens it back out of it so you can actually see
I
it.
know how to.
Okay. It does work better
An Newtonian telescope
as a receiver.
is a similar issue.
Vertical,
But this
like
one
that.
uses a mirror.
Thank you.
The light comes in, it hits this mirror, which is parabolic. Now the focus of the parabola isn't here. It's actually way out here. And it uses the secondary mirror to change it so that it comes out straight here. All right?
Thank you. Oh.
Cassegrains. The light comes in, it's the primary mirror. Now this primary mirror can be both parabolic and spherical, depending on how it's mounted. Secondary mirror, you notice the secondary mirror has a hump. And back down through the little of the eyepiece. The telescope's very in price. But if you buy a good telescope, you can usually sell a good telescope for what you paid for it. The downside of that is eyepieces. People typically have as much money invested in their eyepieces as they do in the telescope. And the eyepieces are very important. There's all kinds of different types you can see. Mine are apostles, which is this type. And some of these guys, like these Irvins, can go for $1,000 a piece. So you know what you're on. What the eyepieces do is the eyepieces take your focusing light, flatten it out so your eye can see much. The better and more expensive the eyepiece, the better image you play. Now, beginner telescopes. This is what I recommend. What this is this is a simple camera tripod. And it turns out that if you buy a pair of binoculars, there's a little adapter right here, which is exactly the same size as a camera mount. You can buy this little L-shaped thing here for about $10 at Amazon.com, and you can convert any tripod and binoculars into a telescope. And this is powerful enough to see the moons of Jupiter or the Great Nebula of Orion. It will do basic stuff. And this, by the way, is 10 times better than the telescope Galileo had. That Galileo had. The guy who discovered the moons of Jupiter. Now, you remember when you look through a pair of binoculars, that what you're looking at is right side up. Now, the way that works is like this. The light comes in here, hits a mirror here, and another mirror here, and then out through an eyepiece. So it essentially goes through 4 different optical systems. So the first one flips it, the next one flips it again the other way, left to right, then right to left, and then up to down again. And you wind up with an image that is the same orientation as the image you look through. And that's how a pair of binoculars works. Now, if you take a look at binoculars, this particular one says 7x35. say like 7x50 or 10x50. 7x is the magnification. And the number 3.5 is this size in millimeters. So basically 3.5 centimeters, or basically a little over 1.5 inches. Okay? Now this is what you're going to be looking at when you look through any telescope. We'll start off with binoculars, 4 elements. Newtonians, like this one over here, 3 elements, left and right is switched. Refractor, 2 elements, upside down. And there are things called diagonals that you can put on telescopes that will fix this. But for most people who are looking up at the sky, left and right and up and down doesn't matter. You're seeing the same thing. And after you take the picture, you can return it. Okay? Now, finder scopes. You see my little finder scope over here, which, by the way, is handmade. The way finder scopes work, there are basically 2 varieties. There's this type, which you see in the back of most smaller telescopes. Now, the way those work is you open both eyes. One eye is going to watch the image go this way. The other eye is going to watch the image go this way. And what you do, because it's an inverted image coming out of the finder scope, is you wait until they both line up in 2 eyes. And then what you're looking at through the finder scope will be in the middle. These are much nicer. What they do is they just project a little circle on the sky. Now this straps to the back of my telescope, it's right there. And the little circle, you just put what you want to see inside the little circle. And you look through the eyepiece and it's there. That's just what I just said, 2-eye method, and that is the end of my slideshow. And that was very quick. What I'd like to do afterwards is I'd like to show you guys with telescopes. But I have a few videos I'd like to show you which are a little bit off topic, if you don't mind. Does anybody mind? No. Okay. This is a story of a couple of guys that were at the right place at the right time.
I'm on the phone with Jim on one of our regular check-ins. Jim, just nothing's happening.
It's going well. We had some serious bouts of wind, but other than that, things are fairly well set up here. We've got some continuous time lapse.
It's starting out, I think. It's starting.
Oh, wait, dude. The signal's starting. Yeah. Let me call you back.
Hold on. Okay, bye.
Still going?
Yeah, in that V section right there. Holy shit, look at that. Things are rolling. All forward running, right? Look at that. You see how, look at the whole thing.
400 feet tall. Pieces of ice were shooting up out of the ocean 600 feet and then falling. The only way that you can really try to put it into scale with human reference is if you imagine Manhattan. And all of a sudden, all of those buildings just start to rumble and quake and peel off and just fall over and roll around. This whole massive city just breaking apart in front of your eyes. We're just observers, these two little dots on the side of the mountain. And we watched and recorded the largest witness calving event ever caught on tape.
So how big was this calving event that we just looked at? We'll resort to some illustrations again to give you a sense of scale. It's as if the entire lower tip of Manhattan broke off, except that the thickness, the height of it, is equivalent to buildings that are 2.5 or 3 times higher than they are. That's a magical, miraculous, horrible, scary thing. I don't know that anybody's really seen the miracle and horror of that. It took 100 years for it to retreat 8 miles from 1900 to 2000. From 2000 to 2010, it retreated 9 miles. So in 10 years, it retreated more than it had in the previous 100.
All right. That happened 2 years ago. Would you like to see a couple more videos, or would you like to play with telescopes? More videos? This is the Arecibo dish. And the Arecibo dish was getting old, and they noticed that there was a problem with one of the drag wires. So what they did was they sent up a drone to take a look. Sorry, commercials. For some of these, I actually downloaded the video, but it turned out to be way too big.
A SEMA makes it possible to shop at thousands of retailers with instant approval to lease up to $4,000.
Okay, and I can't do this without doing a rocket launch. You guys want a rocket launch, or you want to go to Jupiter?
Jupiter.
Jupiter. This is secret by the Jupiter probe. Any orbit around Jupiter. This is the moon Daddy. Lightning storms on Jupiter.
Is Cassini the one that slammed into Saturn?
Yes, it is.
A lone explorer on a mission to reveal the grandeur of Saturn, its rings and moons.
After 20 years in space, NASA's Cassini spacecraft is running out of fuel. And so, to protect moons of Saturn that could have conditions suitable for life, a spectacular end has been planned for this long-lived traveler from Earth.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and liftoff of the Cassini spacecraft on a 30-mile trip to Saturn. We have cleared the tower. Its program is in.
In 2004, following a 7-year journey through the solar system, Cassini arrived at Saturn.
The SY burn attitude and pointing position, and light up the rockets.
The spacecraft carried a passenger, the European Huygens probe, the first human-made object to land on a world in the distant outer solar system. For over a decade, Cassini has shared the wonders of Saturn and its family of icy moons, taking us to astounding worlds where methane rivers run to a methane sea, where jets of ice and gas are blasting material into space from a liquid water ocean that might harbor the ingredients for life. And Saturn, a giant world ruled by raging storms and delicate harmonies of gravity. Now, Cassini has one last daring assignment. Cassini's grand finale is a brand new adventure. 22 dives through the space between Saturn and its rings. As it repeatedly braves this unexplored region, Cassini seeks new insights about the origins of the rings and the nature of the planet's interior, closer to Saturn than ever before. On the final orbit, Cassini will plunge into Saturn, fighting to keep its antenna pointed at Earth as it transmits its farewell. In the skies of Saturn, the journey ends, as Cassini becomes part of the planet itself.
They expected Cassini to last for about 5 minutes in the atmosphere of Saturn. It lasted for 10. All right. With that, any questions? I have brought some stuff for you to play with up here. So before our main talk, we can take a look over my big telescope over here and this pair of binoculars, and I can show you to use them as a telescope. Okay?